Hi, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're joining me. I'm Kelly Pitts with createwithkelly.com and an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator since 2005. So I'm so glad you're here today to watch one of these cards in my collection, this storybook card collection that is from the Silly Old Bear Suite by Stampin' Up! And whether you're watching live or watching on replay, I'm thrilled to have you here. And I hope you will share it with your crafty friends. I love designing cards and I love showing you how to make them and would love to introduce new folks to how to make them. So I'll have the supply list below in my YouTube video. So if you need anything to make the supplies, make the cards, then that'll be great. Just shop with me. I'd appreciate it. And also, if you'd like a tutorial with all of the cards that I'm making from this suite, which I've already made 13, but there were 10 in this group, so I'm not sure how I'm going to do all those videos, but we'll just see. I haven't done one in a while, so I'll probably make a lot of mistakes today, but thank you for being patient with me. We'll switch the camera over and make this first card from the Silly Old Bear Suite that is from the online exclusives that were released in May. And it's only available in the US. Sorry, all the other countries don't get to participate. It's not Stampin' Up's deal. It's a copyright thing. So thanks again for tuning in. And I will switch this camera over if I remember how. Okay, that worked. So we're in good shape. I really wanted my collection of cards to have a more of a storybook feel. So I just didn't want to stick a figure onto a scene. I really wanted to make it tell a story. So in this one, you've got the sometimes when happiness goes looking for you. No, sorry. Sometimes when you go looking for happiness, happiness finds you. And I found a cute little Eeyore that I fussy cut out. These figures are fussy cut. And then you've got this little peekaboo window that opens up. And then you see Eeyore here by the stream and Piglet having a fun time with his friend. And then you open up the card and you have another scene where Piglet and Pooh are enjoying a little picnic on a little day filled with happiness. And I feel like Eeyore is looking in this little golden mirror and looking at reflections of some of the adventures they've had in the past with all the Pooh and his friends in the 100-Acre Woods, which is embossed on the front and the back of this card. So that's kind of where I was going with it when I designed it, and hope you enjoy it. I'm going to go through the steps. I have already die cut one of the sweet frames. Let's see, what is it called? Sweet Words and Labels is the set that has the die that cuts out all these different size frames that are just awesome. And then, so I cut that out of Early Espresso, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then I'm using the 100-Acre Woods 3D folder. I've already embossed with that. So whenever you're doing that, you just need to make sure, I did that a little quickly here. Just make sure the Stampin' Up! Logo is up for it to emboss and make it raised. And then you'll put the whole card front, the whole card base actually in the folder, and it will just barely fit in there. So this part is going to be on the back, the part of the map, and you're cutting out part of it. But it still makes a really great card. Gives it a lot of good texture. So we're just going to make sure, I've scored it already at 4 1/4, but we're going to kind of do it again here. And get our bone folder and get that score line burnished properly. And if you'll get it lined up on the edges and then smooth it out, you'll have a better score line. Okay, so that should all be even. I like to score the front and the back. But see how pretty that is, that texture? Look at that, the woods on the back. Fun, fun, fun. Okay, would love to know who you are. If you're watching, just make a comment, and I'd be glad to try to watch for comments while I do everything else on the card. Okay, we've got our, let's go ahead. We've got several pieces here we're going to get to play with. And I meant to Fussy cut these before I got on the air and just now remembered that. Huh. So the scenes for this come from one of the sheets of paper, of the designer series paper in the Silly Old Bear. So it comes in a sheet like this, and you'll just, what I recommend for prep is just to cut this in half right between these two, cut that across, and then you'll be able to do the separation there. But do the two main lines anytime you've got a design like this on a full page. You want to go with any lines that go all the way across the 12 by 12. So you'll cut those first and then you'll cut the others. And now we have to cut this scene down to size because that's just cut out of here. So we're going to cut that as a typical layer of 4 by 5 1/4 ish, or maybe a little bit less, really a little bit less, because this vanilla layer is going to end up being about 4 by 5 1/4. So we'll do this a little bit less than that. I'm just going to leave a little bit of border around and just kind of, let's see if I've got in frame here. We'll just cut a little of that off and just kind of play with it. 4. So we're going to go a little under that 4, maybe a little bit more. Let's see if I've got a ruler here and see kind of what I did. I may have done 3 3/4 by 5. Let's just see, shall we? Let's see what I did. Yeah, it's really more like an 1/8 off of there. So let's just see. It's not critical either way because we're going to have some of that vanilla showing. So we'll just trim it where we've got a little bit of this edge, vanilla edge on the paper showing. Woo, I got that a little close on the bottom, didn't I? So there's not an exact measurement for it, just kind of guess. We'll look at that. That's fine and dandy. Okay. Now we'll get the trimmer out of the way. And our Stampin' Trimmer is a really great tool. It'll score and cut for you. Okay, now we've got a piece of Very Vanilla. And the paper, most of the scenes have some vanilla and some white in it. So you can kind of just plan your card around either one of those or both, depending on how much of each your paper has. But I kind of felt like for a storybook card, I wanted it to be more yellowed, like a page of a book, is not really white, or they didn't used to be. When they're storybooks with artwork on them, I feel like vanilla works better. So I was glad they had some vanilla in this DSP. Okay, we're going to get that burnished. And this is 8 inches by 5 1/4, scored at 4 inches. Okay. Now, what we'll do is make sure, I wanted to cut this out because I wanted both sides of this paper to show. I thought this side was cute, but I couldn't bear to cut up any of the seams. So if you feel the same way, I'm letting you see both sides. So that's why we have this cut here. So just pay attention. If you get one of my PDFs, you'll see how to do this, how this unfolds. So you'll want to glue this side down in the middle, and then you'll have the opening over here. And we can go ahead and glue this. Well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stamp first. I'm changing my mind. I'm allowed to do that, right? Hello, Rebecca. I'm glad you love this set. I do too. We've made some fun cards with it, haven't we? Rebecca's been with me to make all 13 of the cards I've made so far with this. So we had a lot of fun at our little Pooh party. Okay, I'm looking for my Stampin' Pierce mat right here. Like I said, I haven't done this in a while, so y'all have to bear with me. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do the inside of this, and I'm stamping in Early Espresso, and I'm using the Phrases and Frames set for part of this. That's in addition to your suite of products in the Silly Old Bear, which the Sweet Old Friends is in there. We used one greeting, I think, from it. That's where the front greeting came from. And then the inside sentiment is from Phrases and Frames. And I like to put my sentiment closer to the top if I've got something to fill the bottom. It just depends on how much area I'm going to fill up. So we've got that done. Let's go ahead and stamp our little greeting for the front while we're stamping. Then we'll get to doing a little fussy cutting that I should have done earlier. And sorry, this is, I should have cleaned that off too. Hello, Kathy. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Yay. Happy to have you here. Okay, got that clean real quick. All right, now we're going to do the front sentiment. Sometimes when you go looking for happiness, happiness finds you. And I'm using Early Espresso again. Just straight down, straight up. Try not to wiggle. All good. And I think that's all the stamping we're doing. Well, I decided I wanted a few little bees on this one. I did not put them on here, but I thought we might try them on this one. So we're going to stamp the bees. Even though bees are black, I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Early Espresso for this. And I promise I'll get this messy mat out of the way very soon. I think I'm just going to do this kind of right here. Do we want it low? Do we want it? Maybe they're watching the bees. They're going to be down here. We're going to put the bees right there. And now we've got all of our stamping done. I do believe. Clean that really quickly. I don't like to leave the ink on the stamps if I don't have to. Okay, it's time to do a little fussy cutting and some gluing. And so sorry again about taking your time here. Dang, I should have done this much earlier, but let's just chit chat, shall we? Y'all can fast forward around this if you want to. And just a reminder, when you're fussy cutting, if you will leave a little bit of border, whether it's white or vanilla, whatever that is that you're fussy cutting, just leave a little border, and that gives you a little more wiggle room if you accidentally, do too far or leave a little bit much. It's really a lot more obvious if you're directly on the line of what you're cutting out. And we are using our paper snips in a way that they are the pivot point. You're not cutting like this with your scissors. You are putting your DSP in, or whatever you're cutting, and then turning the paper around the pivot point in the scissors. There's probably an official name for that on a pair of scissors, but that's like the fulcrum, I guess. Maybe is what I'm thinking, but my brain is not always everything is cracked up to be. So I could be wrong on that. Does anybody know what this point is in the scissors where they connect there? Hey, Kathy, I know maybe this will help you get started on your kit. If you've got the video, maybe you can start with them number 1 out of 10. This is number 1, and pull it out and get that created. I'm glad you bought the kit. We hated to miss you at the class. I did a total of 12 kits, so it was a lot of die cutting. Thank goodness I had some friends who were some of my Create with Kelly crew members, Eileen and Jan, helped me get a lot of the stuff cut out. So that helped a ton. And sorry, I forgot how much fussy cutting there was on this particular card. Y'all are being punished, I guess. Please talk amongst yourselves or fast forward me if you're not watching the live. But it doesn't take forever, but it does take a little bit. So, yes, fussy cutting is not Rebecca's favorite. Rebecca, I noticed that you posted a nice photo of your dad for Father's Day as your profile picture. That's lovely. I know a lot of people out there are probably getting to celebrate Father's Day with their fathers or their kids, and hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I sure do miss my dad. I miss him all the time, but especially, of course, on Father's Day. So I hope you and your families are all having a great day. I just thought I have time this afternoon and I'm going to get back on the bandwagon. I need to get all these videos done for each card in my collection, and just decided to go ahead and do that today. Get going on it. So thanks for your patience. I promise I will prepare a little better for the next one. It's just been a long time since I put these kits together, and I didn't really pull out everything and realize how much fussy cutting there was. And you can just make his tail a little ball of fluff, or you can go ahead and cut. I kind of cut in a couple of places where you've got some blank space there to kind of make it look a little more like has some feathering. Excuse me. I have to get a sip of water. Haven't been talking today, evidently. Steve's been out working on stuff in the yard. And have y'all had a busy day so far, or is it a relaxing weekend for you? I hope. Let's see what's coming up. Little Piglet. He just looks so joyful in this, doesn't he? This little position of he's just jumping up in the air. I just think that's the cutest thing. And we have been watching Clarkson's Farm. I don't know if any of y'all watch that, but they have had some cute little pigs on there, and that is kind of a crazy show. I can't even tell you what network it's on or anything, but it's been fun. Oh, Kathy's been making busted canvas projects. Yeah. That's a fun thing. We haven't done those in a while. We made some busted canvas cards at one of my techniques classes last year. And I cannot believe it's already getting time to think about fall cards and Halloween classes and Christmas card classes. Our crew wants to start those in August, so we are gonna be doing some of those fun things, and we'll probably do a Halloween class that may be September, probably early September, maybe late August when we do the Halloween class. So if y'all are interested in that, be sure to let me know. You can always email me at kelly@createwithkelly.com and just say, I'm interested in Christmas classes. I'm interested in Halloween classes. I want a fall class. Whatever you're interested in, just let me know, and I will work on that with my planning. And you can always find my event calendar when you go to createwithkelly.com. You can click on calendar, or maybe it's events. I think it might be events tab, and it will show you exactly what events I have coming up in the next month or so that I have scheduled. And then usually I add some besides what I start with on there, but I try to keep that current. with exactly all of my upcoming classes. So if you're ever wondering what time is a class, what's the next class, where is it, where are we having lunch, that kind of thing, you can always go to my calendar and find it there. And then it really helps me a ton when you RSVP on that site. You'll just click yes that you're coming, or a maybe. If you're not sure but you're interested, you can click a maybe, and then I will get a notification. And whenever I look back at my calendar, it will tell me who all is coming, so I know how many to prep for. So that's the easiest way, because it really is difficult to kind of go through all the text messages and emails and group text and group emails and everything everywhere somebody could have possibly told me if they're coming or not. So, and phone messages. And so if you will RSVP on my event tab, that is the best way to do it. Okay, I should have had this card out here for you to look at the whole time. Sorry. Okay, I think we've got all of our fussy cutting done and ready to put this together. Yay! All right, I'm going to show you really quickly how we came up with this frame, because we don't have a frame die. So if we don't have a die that cuts out the frame per se, then do you know how we do that? I know some of you do, because you have done it yourself at the classes. But this is from the Sweet Words and Labels set. And what I did was I took a piece of the hydrangea hue and cut it out. You can see this is the largest die. So you cut the largest die out of a piece of hydrangea hue, which really takes about 3 3/4 by 5 to die cut that out. And then once you've cut the outside of the frame, then you come back with the second largest and cut out that frame. Or if you want a little bit larger frame, you can go down yet another step and make it like that, which is what we did on the inside. So these two frames, and you can do them together. I'm just too nervous about it because I think they can shift and mess up your dies. So that's what I like to do, is cut the first one and then come back. And once that's a solid piece, then I go ahead and cut this smaller, and that leaves that frame. It's kind of like a donut, you know, where you're cutting out the middle. And then on the inside, where we're having Eeyore look in the little golden mirror, in my opinion, that is the largest die, the same large die that we used on the front, this one, but then we cut out the inside with a little bit smaller, so it makes a bigger frame. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone. But that is a great set, even if you're not a Winnie the Pooh fan or storybook style or anything like that. You can still use those labels. They are just a great set. And even the words in that words and labels are great. Hello, Kimberly. Glad you've joined us. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Rebecca. I'm glad you like the classes. Y'all always make them fun for me. Okay, here we go. We've got this piece. Try to see how to show you both at the same time here. Let's go ahead and glue the inside in. And like I said, always, if you've got a sample card or you've got a tutorial, make sure you've got it laid out the way you think it should go and audition it. Go, is this going to work? Is this what I'm looking for? Okay, so you do want the hole over here. You see that because this is the back of this paper. So we're going to glue this here, and you can use your liquid glue. You can use Stampin' Seal. You can use whatever you'd like. So I'm going to use my glue right here. Whoops. And I may have to run get it. We're going to put this right here. One thing I forgot, my big glue gun. Be right back. Okay, I'm already back. All right. And use whatever liquid glue you would like, or you can use Stampin' Seal, either way. Okay. So I'm going to put it, I know that I can't go right up to the edge, so I'm going to leave a little border. And I'm going to put it on here because it's too hard to guess when I'm doing the brown. I mean let's see. Okay. This is actually that. Okay. So let's go ahead and glue this in with seal or liquid glue, whichever. Okay. And it's going to go this way. So we're just centering that in there. And you may need to go a little further in because you've got this fold here. So make sure that doesn't show. All good. Okay, so we're going to press it down. That's all good. Okay, and we're not necessarily doing it in any kind of order. You can kind of do whatever you want on this as long as you stamp it before you glue it in. You always want to do that. So we're going to glue this frame while we're at it. Just a little liquid glue all the way around. Try to even that out and then look from the other side. It's kind of hard to tell exactly where to put it. So look, if you look from this side, well, it's not going to show on that side anyway, but just trying to get it where all of the diamonds are showing just vanilla. Does that make sense right here? Because if you've got some of the dark showing, you know that it's not centered properly. But that looks pretty good. So it looks good from this side, which is going to get covered up, but that means it's even. So we're going to glue that down. Then we're going to do this. We'll add our little scene. And for this one, you can see we don't need to put it on this piece of paper because we'll get glue where we don't need it. So we're going to put glue here. Okay. And this, see, we've got, let's see if I can show you both of these. Okay. There we go. So we're following our example. We're putting this glue here on this piece. Tuck that in. Oops, got glue a little too far up. Too close. And got it a little bit crooked. Let's see if I can fix that. Yep. Okay. Now that we know it's right, we'll fold it and see if we can get that kind of even all the way around. And if you've got a adhesive remover, those little gummy adhesive erasers, that'd be great there to get the rest of that glue off. Okay. So now I think we can put our sample aside and we'll put it over here. Okay. Trying to get this centered better. Like I said, it's been ages since I've been working so much on this class, getting this ready, because doing all this die cutting and all that took quite a bit of time. So I just didn't get to my videos. And rather than doing this and risking getting glue all on here, I'm going to open that up. And then we're going to put this. And this is why I like the liquid glue, so that you have a little bit of wiggle room. You can move it if you need to. And I'm just trying to line that up where it fits kind of exactly in that space. And it would be better to lay it on there first and audition it, make sure it works properly, because it may be a little bit different if you turn it, you know, upside down. So, okay, we've got that part done. Now we're going to pop up our greeting sentiment layer. And I'm just going to put, you know that you don't want dimensionals up here because they're going to show on the inside. Okay, so we have to stabilize this on the ends and on the bottom below this, below that little indented area there. So you could use just a bottom piece. This one we're going to overlap a little so that we do have enough room. We also need to pay attention. See how this has the Winnie the Pooh over here? You've got to make sure you leave enough room for that. And I should have stamped this over to the right a little bit more, I'm discovering. I didn't think of that while we were, I just centered it on the piece. But if you haven't stamped yours yet and you're looking at this, make sure and move your greeting a little bit over to the right so that you have plenty of room. Okay, so we know we can do that. We don't want to have a double dimensional here, really. So I'm going to do another one down here. I think I'm going to do a line. I'm just going to cut the side of my dimensionals one side. And I'm going to put this down here at the bottom. Like that. And I bet that's going to be enough. If we need to stick one under, we can later, but I think that should be enough to stabilize it. Okay, so I'm getting that almost all the way to the right. And it is going to be a little off center here, but it won't matter a whole lot because that is off. Okay, we're going to have to go up to here, which means I'm going to cut a little bit of that ground off, which is fine. Nobody's going to notice it missing. Okay, so we're going to pop him up. And he's not going to really be showing, just his part of his little head and nose right here may be peeking through. So we may need to move this over just a little bit, but let's see first. And I'm putting it where you can see the go there completely. Okay. Make sure, yeah, no, we don't have any dimensionals showing, so that's a good thing. And now we have the fun little Eeyore, and we just flipped him over on his back. How cute is that? And there's not really much there to hold him as far as a dimensional goes. So what we're going to do is just add a little line of glue right here where we know we want him to be. See if that's going to be enough. Got a little too much around his tail there. So be careful. But there he is doing a backflip because he's a happy camper and Pooh and Piglet are watching. Okay, then we've got a double linen thread bow. We'll go ahead and do that. And I left enough where it has a nice little tail. And I just tie it just like I do a shoe. I make a loop, hold on to that, come around over the top, come below, and then pull through both of those. And then we can straighten this up. I got a little crazy there on how big that one was. And got a little off. Okay, I don't like it. I'm going to do it again. I think it's because it twisted on me. So over the top, then you can see it come through that loop right there and tie it. Tighten that up. Then you can make the tails all go kind of the same way. You just force it to do your will. And I had a pretty big loop there. And when you've got it where you want it, if you pull both sides, the loop and the tails, then it should stay pretty well. I'm going to tighten that just a little more. When you tighten it up, you want to hold that knot. Hold on to the knot in the middle. Okay. Now I'm going to kind of curve that with my fingers, make it kind of go the way I want it to. Let's see, I'm going to go this way. All right. And I think I'm going to trim that just a tad. I don't have my ribbon scissors in here, but I think that's going to work. Then we'll use a glue dot for that. Then we'll get these little guys on the inside and we'll be done. How fun is that? Hey, Kathy, I know I lose things often too. I've got lots of stuff, so it's easy for something to hide. I get that. I get that. Yep. All right. We're just going to attach that with a glue dot right up here. And that can just kind of trail down. But you can see how doesn't this remind you of a book, and opening that Winnie the Pooh book and having all those characters in there? I just think that's so fun to kind of reveal that as you open up the card. And this doesn't really bother me a whole lot. If it bothers you, you could always double back these and put Very Vanilla on the back there before you attach it, but it's fine with me. The colors kind of coordinate, so we're good to go. Okay, I'm going to add our cute little picnic scene down at the bottom here. And this still leaves you plenty of room to write. If you want to skip the bees, skip the bees. But I think they're kind of cute. Because bees are a good thing. I know sometimes they can be scary if you have an allergy or something, but we definitely need them for our food chain, don't we? They sure do make a big difference. Okay, now we're going to have on the inside here, we'll have Eeyore with some little honey in a pot. And then we'll have Piglet. And make sure when you do this, before you glue them, that they are hidden by this. We've got Piglet's ear showing just a little bit. I'm going to make that a little bit smaller, and I'm going to move him over just a little more. So always audition your pieces first, instead of wishing afterwards that you had checked that a little closer. Okay, so Piglet's over at the edge there. And then Eeyore, we want him kind of by the stream. So they're having a little fun afternoon, finding happiness. Okay, let's see if he's far enough. Yep, the label hides him, so we're good to go. Okay, then we're going to add, what are the little butterflies? There are the 2026 to 2028 in color butterflies. How cute is that? Oh my gosh, these are tiny and so cute. We're going to get our little take a pic tool and get a butterfly for right here. Let's see, did I do it backwards? We don't want it dive bombing. And we don't want it going where it's facing out of the card. You want it to kind of feel like it's going in. You would like for your eye to keep circling in this scene. And we already had one dragonfly over here, so I didn't feel like we had to have two butterflies, but if you want two butterflies, you can certainly do that. How cute. That needs a little bit more of our foam folder to get that really laying down straight. Okay. Now, all we lack is a little wink of Stella and adding Eeyore over here. And I did not glue him here. I left this part up. You wouldn't have to, but I've just kind of got him glued back here. And if you want to use dimensionals, you can. You just have to worry about how thick you're getting all this. So, ooh, I just got a text. Hopefully that didn't come through to y'all. I forgot to put my do not disturb on. All right. And there's Eeyore. So let's get a little Wink of Stella out and give him a little bit of sparkle. Especially his little bow there. The bow on his tail, or her tail. I don't know if Eeyore and Piglet, I don't know if they're male or female. Guess it doesn't matter. And we're just going to give them a little sparkle. You can put a little bit on the rocks if you want. You can do the plates, whatever you'd like to do. And then I wanted to show you the shimmer brush real quickly. This is our Golden Glow shimmer brush. And you do want to make sure and shake it each time before you use it. And I'm just going to barely touch here on these bees so that they've got a light and dark area. And I've got one wayward little hair there that's sticking out. I should have done that like that with my hands first, but I didn't. Okay, then we're going to use a little bit right here. And I think I just used Wink of Stella on my original one. I don't know if you'll be able to tell the difference. I'll try to hold them both up. But the shimmer brushes come in all 5 of our in colors for this year, the 26 to 28 in colors. Golden Glow, Peaceful Pine, Hydrangea Hue, Barely Blush, and what did I forget? Not sure. What did I forget, y'all? See, I did put go back in and put some Berry Vanilla on the back there. But you can, I wanted to show you both ways. So this one does not have the backing on it. And I think it is better to put the backing, but you know, this is a handmade card. And they're going to be so fascinated with how this opens and tells a little story that they won't even notice that. I bet you. Whoever you send it to. If they complain, I wouldn't send them another one. Okay. Little sparkle. Let's give him a little honey in his pot here. That shows up a little bit, not a whole lot. Okay. So there is our card. And if you wanted to add a couple of hydrangea little dots, we also have the in color dots like this in the same 5 colors. Oh, Crisp Cantaloupe is the one that I forgot earlier. You could put the dots there, but I kind of like the way the diamond shape was repeated here. But I've covered up part of that with his tail anyway. So we could do a couple of those, and that way y'all can see what you think. I think they might overpower the butterfly. You could do that. You could do the gold if you wanted something to show up more. Let me just show you what that would be if you wanted the gold. What do you think? Do you want gold dots, the Golden Glow, or hydrangea? I kind of think that blends in too much. I think I'm going to put a couple of the gold ones. We could do large, or we could do, ooh, that's too big. Never mind, never mind. Okay. I think that looks pretty. Are y'all happy with the card? I also think this would be pretty with that tree ring folder that's new. And we may show you that at another time on a different card. But right now, I will switch the camera around unless I have any. Oh, Kathy likes it better without the dots. Okay. Rebecca and Kimberly, what do y'all think? With or without the dots? And I will turn the camera around and say goodbye. And hope y'all will stay tuned. I'm going to do some more. Another video at least. Okay. Kathy, you love it. Thank you. I'm glad. Whoops, we're hiding that. Okay, it's time to show our card one more time. Thank you, thank you, thank you again for tuning in. And if you're interested in getting the PDF tutorial, this is available for $20. You can just go to the Google form and sign up to get that. And it will include another 9 cards at least. So you'll make it at least a total of 10. I may even put 13 on that. Woohoo! Heck of a deal. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. Y'all have a great day. Happy Father's Day to your families out there. Thanks again. Stay tuned. There will be more. Bye.